guys, welcome back to my channel. I am really excited for today's video. We're gonna be doing an end of the year chopping block video. With 2022 ending just shy of a month away, I am preparing, like getting all of my videos prepared, doing all the things and preparing my content ideas. And I do plan to do like probably a small end of the year declutter. I did a whole declutter series end of August, September-ish, and there are still a few products lingering in my collection that I just feel like I haven't reached for in over a year. Maybe when I was going through my declutter, I was like, I don't know if I want to keep this. And I just have a handful of products that I want to try and make an effort to use before the end of 2022. And if I don't, well then, these are going to be decluttered. So I likely won't do like a follow-up chopping block video, but I will obviously possibly be decluttering some of these products or not in my end of the year declutter video. So if you guys are interested in seeing, I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 products currently in my chopping block. Stay tuned. First, if you have yet to subscribe to my channel and you like project planning content or just chit-chatting about makeup, I would love if you'd consider subscribing before moving on. And other than that, let's jump into the video. All right, you guys, as always, in any chopping block video, I would love you to roast me in the comments below, leave me your feedback in the comments below. Should I just like already be decluttering some of these products? Should I definitely be keeping? Let me know in the comments. So I think I'm gonna start with lip products and work my way backwards from the way that I would normally do my makeup. Let's start with, I do have 2 lip glosses that I am considering decluttering. And with lip gloss, I find it's hard for me to get myself to declutter lip gloss because I feel like lip gloss is kind of like primer in that usually it's not like bad enough that I can't use it up. But then my lip gloss collection is so large and so big that I'm like, I don't feel like I'm actually gonna be able to use all these. And these 2 are 2 that I feel like if I'm using them, I'm like sacrificing potentially using another gloss that I love. But part of that could be because I just never reach for these glosses and I'm honestly just not sure how I feel about them. So up first I have one from Iconic London. It is a lip plumping gloss. I feel like I've struggled to declutter this one because it is this really beautiful like pale pink shade, which I actually really quite like. I got this in a BoxyCharm, so I feel like there hasn't been that pull for me to use it, like knowing I like spent my own money on it, even though like I did pay for the BoxyCharm subscription. It doesn't feel quite as much like I spent my money on the product. I don't know why my brain works that way, but I feel like that's why I haven't really reached for this. So it's not that I know that I like it enough to have kept it, because I remember quite a few times thinking I would declutter this and then I would toss it on my lips and be like, no. And like looking at it here, I'm like, I really like that shade, but like then I need to use it. So this is, I don't think I'll end up decluttering this one, but we'll see. This one I feel like I'm more likely to potentially declutter. This is from Nabla. It's the Shine Theory lip gloss, and this is more of like a golden yellow sort of lip gloss, but it does have a shine to it. It is a little bit stickier. I feel like the reason I've kept this one through declutters is one, because I am like a Nabla cosmetic stan, so I like to like have Nabla products. I've also thought about doing like a Nabla brand review, but I just did like a ranking everything that I've ever tried from Natasha Denona. And personally, it's okay for me to just include pictures if I don't still own the product. But I also just posted a video talking about my palette regrets, and there are palettes that I've decluttered that I regret decluttering. So I'm trying to be a little bit more mindful about my declutter decisions, which is why we're making this chopping block video. Okay, this next product, this is a liquid lipstick. I probably should declutter this at this point in time. This is from Jeffree Star Cosmetics. This is so old, probably over 5 years old. Please don't tell me how disgusting I am in the comments. Be kind about it. It still like smells normal. It's this vampy shade, and I keep it around because I purchased this when like I feel like these vampy shades were like really all the rage, like really all the rage. And I always thought I would all fall season be wearing vampy shades like this, when alas I'm not. And I can't remember the last time I wore this. I also have like a Dose of Colors, which I prefer the Dose of Colors formula, which is pretty similar to this. I just need to like at least use, if I have not used this one time, then it's definitely getting decluttered. I need to use it at least one time to decide if I really want to keep it around. Obviously, that's the point of this video. And then I do have another liquid lipstick. This is the Liquid Velvet from Ciate London. I feel like I consider decluttering this all the time, and then I swatch it and I'm like, oh, actually that's a really beautiful shade. And this is like also kind of a deep shade, but not quite as vampy as the Jeffree Star one. It's a little bit more mauve toned. It's definitely more of a mid-toned shade, which just is not something I reach for all that frequently. Like typically I just do a gloss like I have on today. So I feel like I keep this through so many declutters thinking it's a beautiful shade, but then I never end up actually reaching for the shade. Those are all of the lip products. I do have 2 eye pencils, and I thought about decluttering both of these during my latest declutter, but then I was like, these shades are pretty, but I never reach for products like this. I'm currently trying to get through a little deluxe size of the Laura Mercier Caviar Stick, and I've been working on that all year and haven't been able to get through it. So here is the e.l.f. Electric Mood one swatched right here. It's this really beautiful like champagne metallic shade. And then I also have this one from Pinky Rose. This is in the shade Hip Hop, and this is more of like a concealer-esque sort of shade. It's a little bit stiffer and a little bit stickier. I actually feel like that would make a great eyeshadow base. I just never reach for a product like this. So that's why I wanted to include these in the chopping block, to try and actually encourage me to use these products to actually form an opinion on whether or not they still deserve a place in my makeup collection. Okay, now I'll kind of maybe just go in order that I normally would do my makeup. So I have 1 primer. This is the only primer though. My primer collection is pretty well under control. The e.l.f. Power Grip Primer. This is like a little bit too sticky for me. Like it just feels like glue. I also have the e.l.f. Jelly Pop Primer and the e.l.f. Mint Melt Primer alongside this, and they're all pretty gripping in my opinion. So many people rave about this, and I just like don't love the texture, but I will say I didn't love the texture of the LYS. Yeah, it's just like super sticky. I didn't love the texture of the LYS gripping primer, but I put that in a project pan this year, and it turned out that I actually ended up loving that product. So I'm wondering if this is just something that if I used consistently, maybe I would have a better appreciation for it. So that's why I'm tossing that one in the chopping block. I do have 1 foundation I'm considering decluttering, and it is one that I actually purchased this year. It's from Chanel, and it is the Le Beige Healthy Glow Foundation. So I used this probably 5 or 6 times when I first got this, and there were many times that I didn't like my makeup, and maybe like 1, maybe 2 times that I thought my makeup looked okay. I feel like this just made my skin look so dry though, and I would have thought because it says healthy glow, it would have given my skin a healthy glow. Although I will say I tried to pair it with this primer and I just did not love that pairing. So I'm wondering if I just need to try this a few more times, maybe prep my skin a little bit differently. And I just really want to return to this product, especially as we're getting towards like the end of the year wrap up. I need to decide my like true feelings on this and use it a few days consistently to see if I'm still having the issues where I don't love the way my skin looks. Is it the formula? Is it like, did I not get a great shade? I'm not sure, but I also don't want to keep this product in my collection if I don't love it. 2023 is truly going to be the year of like not keeping things around that I don't love, and not bringing, I'm fingers crossed, not bringing too much into my collection and like truly bringing in loves into my makeup collection. I have 1 concealer. This has been in my collection for quite some time, and I just never consistently reach for this. So therefore I'm like, do I really need to keep this in my collection? It's a little bit older in my concealer collection. It's the CoverGirl True Blend Undercover Concealer. So many people rave about this concealer, and I again just feel like I haven't used this consistently enough to know if I really like love it, or like how I even really feel about it. But concealer is one of those things where I don't feel like it takes up a lot of space in my drawer. Therefore, I feel like I don't have a lot of concealers. But then I go to do my makeup inventory and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have like 15 concealers, and a single concealer takes me like half a year to get through at the least. Like concealer takes me forever to get through, it feels like. So I don't want to have a million concealers in my collection. We'll see what I end up with I do have 2 blushes. So I I have a few Becca blushes still left in my collection, and I feel like I think about this one all the time of potentially decluttering it. It's in the shade Songbird. Here it is swatched right here. It does have a really beautiful glow to the cheeks, but I prefer Wild Honey. And I feel like then I'll pull this out, use it one time, decide I want to keep it, but then like still think about decluttering it every time I go to do a declutter. So I want to use this consistently, like more than like 1 or 2 times. Like I want to use it a few days in a row and gain a better understanding of whether or not it truly serves a valuable purpose in my collection, or if I can get rid of this. This is again one of my older blushes in my collection. Also, like, do I have dupes of this? Like, I want to search through and see, but that is on the chopping block, as well as this Jouer Duo. So I have the blush duo in the shade Adore, the Adore blush duo. So it has Adore Me and Hold Me. This is something I thought about potentially decluttering during my last declutter, and then I swatched it and I was like, nope, I'm not gonna get rid of it, but I haven't reached for it since. And I don't believe I've reached for this, not much this year, if at all. So, and this is older in my collection too. I feel like because it's a duo, sometimes I find myself not reaching for duos. I know that the shades are beautiful, and I know I especially like this shade right here, but I just never find myself reaching for it. And if that's the case, like, why am I keeping it around in my collection? So that's on the chopping block. Ooh, I thought I had 3 highlighters, but one of these is a bronzer. This is the Vesca bronzer. I used to really like the Vesca bronzer. Unfortunately, Vesca is going out of business, and I found that the few times I had pulled to reach for this year, I felt like it just pulled a little bit warmer on me than I typically prefer. And I don't know if I was just being like picky with my makeup this year. This is such a super finely milled formula. It's literally so soft, the powder. But I just didn't love it the few times that I reached for it this year, but I didn't reach for it that frequently this year either. So it could have just been like I was having a bad day, whatever it might be. I love bronzer. I feel like my bronzer collection is like relatively under control. This would be the only bronzer, obviously, that I would be considering potentially decluttering. So I just want to see if it, again, still serves a purpose in my collection, or if I am ready to get rid of that. And then this highlighter has been in my collection for quite some time as well. It is the Dose of Colors in collaboration with I Love Sarah E in the shade Bathe. I did have both shades that released in the collection, but I've already decluttered the more golden toned one. So this is a really beautiful pink one. It's super intense, and I am just not reaching for super intense highlights anymore. But again, the powder is so soft and so finely milled that it really does just create this beautiful wet highlight. This is one that I'm like concerned, like, would my preferences change? Would I want it for like a shoulder highlight in the summer? I'm really not sure. I have like a really good dip in the center too. I'm not sure I'm gonna end up decluttering this one, but I've also barely reached for this one this year. So if anything, maybe this will just get a little bit of extra use for me the next, you know, month or so until the end of the year. But I don't know, maybe I will decide I don't need that. And then finally, the last product is this one from Kaleidos. This is the Ray Rider highlight. And one, the packaging on this is just bulky, so that's like my first gripe with it. And two, this has like it's just a little bit more like, I don't know if sparkly is even the right word, because I don't necessarily, like, if there's glitter in here, I think there is, but it's so finely milled that it doesn't look necessarily like glitter on the eyes. But it's not the smoothest highlighter I've ever used, and I just did not find myself reaching for this much at all this past year. Part of it, again, could have been the bulky packaging. I do love Kaleidos, and I do like to have products that aren't just eyeshadow from indie brands. So again, this one I'm not necessarily sure I will declutter, but I did want to like pull it out and actually give myself some encouragement to reach for this one by the end of the year, because again, I just haven't reached for this one either. But after that, those are the 14 products that are currently in my end of year chopping block. Again, would love your guys' feedback below. Should I declutter some of these? Should I not? Let's chat about it in the comments. Other than that, thank you so much for sticking around to watch today's video and for supporting my channel as you guys always do. I love you guys so much, and I'll catch you in my next video. Bye.